Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Her Travel Expert. Today we are talking travel scams. I'm embarrassed to admit that I've been scammed multiple times, even as recent as July. So we're going to break down what happened and where it was. And Kirsten has also been scammed maybe once or twice. So join us as we tell you our mistakes so you don't make them.
Welcome to Her Travel Expert. I'm Kirsten Maxwell from Kids Air Trip and Groups Air Trip.
And I'm Meagan Wristen from mommytravels.net.
We're here to help you make every trip unforgettable.
Okay, so the first like major time we got scammed was in Turkey. And it was at a really nice pottery place. So they take you in and it's like a pottery tour and you get to see them make it, and their family has their own pottery. And then they take you into their store, of course, and everything's so beautiful. And some of the pottery is theirs, and that is the pottery that should cost more. But I didn't buy that pottery. I bought something else that I saw that I thought was so pretty, and I paid the price that was marked. But what I didn't know that in Turkey, they'll say, "Oh, you're an American. That's in USD." So what should be 200 Turkish lira, which is, I don't know, $4. Instead, I paid 200 USD for. Oops. I was mad. I was so mad. But if you're British, they'll say, "Oh, that's 200 pounds." So whatever, and they talk to you as you walk around the store. They figure out who you are, where you're from. And it's so like subtle, you don't even realize what's happening. Luckily, later that night, I was walking around town. I saw the exact same thing I bought for $2.
Oh,
and I was like, oh my gosh. So the next day I demanded to be taken back by the tour guide because the tour guide knew they're in on it.
Yeah, he did.
Everybody knows. And so we went back. I demanded my money back. I got it back.
Good for you.
No, I had to speak for the family though, because sometimes in Turkey they don't treat women as equals. So I was getting nowhere and I got frustrated and I just looked at Noah and Noah just went with it.
Picked it up.
He got the money back, no problem.
Good. Well, live and learn. But I mean, that's another interesting thing about currency, because I think most people, if you're new to traveling, you don't always realize when you travel abroad, a lot of times the credit card machines, they'll ask you, do you want to pay in local currency or US dollars? Always, always, always say local currency, because otherwise they're going to make the exchange rate for you, not your bank. So always pay local currency, let your bank do the conversion, because otherwise you're getting scammed out of money that you shouldn't be paying.
I've made that mistake a lot, especially when I'm in a hurry. So,
oops.
Now, kind of what motivated this episode is that I saw the American tourist that I think everybody's seen it by now. She chased down the girls that snatched her purse in
Venice.
Rome or Venice. Yeah. She tracked him down, I think, with Find My Phone.
Yes.
Or somehow she was able to track her bag down. And so there are certain things I do to ensure that I don't get my bag stolen or my money stolen when I'm in Europe. And it's stuff I bought specifically for Europe. No offense, Europe, but you have a little bit of a problem. So one of the first things I bought, my first trip ever to Europe, I bought a money belt, and I've had the same one forever. And you wear it around your waist.
Same one. It's like circa 1995.
So sexy, yeah. But you wear it under your clothes so nobody can see it. And then it's got a zipper so you can put stuff under the zipper or can open it up. And there's another zipper and you can keep your money in there and nobody can snatch it off your body because it's attached to you. And plus you can't see it. They'd have to reach up underneath your shirt to get to it or your pants, depending on how you wear it. So that'll slow them down a little bit. So it's a great way to carry money. I know it's kind of like, it can be gross when it's like the dead of the summer and there's no wind in the Mediterranean. You're sweating and then you sweat through your money belt, but you know what? You still have your money. So there you go.
That's right. And what I've learned, just because I do solo traveling a lot in Europe, I mean, I want to go out in the day and take things with me. It's not just the money belt. So I ended up getting this travel-on backpack because I need something to carry my computer with me. So if I'm going to go find a quiet space to work. And what it has all these little locks. I don't know if you can see, but they latch together.
Oh, yes, I see it.
Yeah. And if you don't have ones that latch together, like this side of the bag didn't, I bought these on Amazon. They're just little bag clips. I'm like, where can I see it?
Okay.
Like that. And they can connect any zippers you want. I mean, I make it sound easy. You just connect them together so that
So they can't
nobody
open your
can get
bag.
them. So they can't open your bag. A lot of people don't like to use backpacks in Europe because they can't see behind them. But if you have it locked like that, I'm a little less worried about anybody getting into it. And another thing I would recommend is if you're on a train, always have your back to the wall or holding your bag in front of you, because that's when you lose your bags. Is not only when you're sitting down or standing up with it behind you, but don't stand next to an open door. That's my other thing, is because that's the easiest getaway route for somebody, is to grab your bag, go out the door, and you're never going to see them again. So a couple little tips of just regular safety, not necessarily scam, but that's what you need to keep an eye out. And I think that's what that lady in Venice kind of had turned her attention. The bag got snatched, and I think you're right. She had either a tracker, like a tile, or a iPhone tracker, and an AirTag. Thank you. And she had tracked it down, and they grabbed that girl, and she's holding her literally by her ponytail for 40 minutes until the police came. I mean, good for her, but I mean, there needs to be more of that, of people being able to track their stuff. So I like the tile trackers because the phone doesn't ping you. Whereas an AirTag, it's like, oh, an AirTag is tracking you. So they can immediately look for it. Tile is different. It's a different app, but it could be on your phone. You could put it somewhere hidden in the bag. And people in Europe usually don't know what to look for when it comes to a tile.
Okay, that's great to know. So I had not seen those little zipper clips. I'm still old school with little tiny locks. So I have these little tiny locks, same thing,
Yep.
Amazon or TJ Maxx,
Yeah.
get them anywhere. And then I'll just I'll lock the bag so they can't open it.
Yeah.
So
Do you keep the key for that like on a chain, or is it a number lock?
I would have the key like in my pocket or in
Mm.
the money belt.
Okay.
So,
Okay. That's smart.
and that is specifically for a backpack. And then I always carry a purse. I'm from West Texas and we're purse people. And so I always carry a crossbody so it goes across your body so they can't take it because it's just not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
So,
And if you are investing in one of those crossbodies, make sure it has RFID, because it protects them from using one of those scanners that can steal your credit card information and your passport info.
yeah, and if it doesn't, you can buy these little
Or like cards or something. Like,
slips that
yeah.
it does the same thing. So, it's amazing like all the things you have to worry about nowadays. Yeah, fun times. Speaking of the police taking 40 minutes to show up, I mentioned earlier in the episode that in July we got scammed pretty bad and it was super scary. And when I wanted the police, no police. And I think sometimes an American, you say what you want about the police, they're going to show up. If you call them, they show up. And that's something that we're used to, and you expect it to happen in other countries, and it doesn't. So there I was in the Dominican Republic. My kids have landed at 7:30 in the evening, and so it was two of my kids. My oldest kid was with me, but my other two kids weren't. They flew in at a different time and they ended up delayed. And so we took a shuttle to the resort and they weren't there in time. Mistake number one was they got in a cab, which I would say do use the cab, but when the cab driver asked for the cash up front, Eden realized that she had lost her debit card in Miami and she's like, "Oh, I don't have any cash." And instead of calling me and saying, "Mom, we need you to have cash when we get to the resort," she's like, "Oh, I don't have any," like, and started trying to negotiate like a different type of payment. And the cab driver kicked my kids out at a KFC in Bavaro. So now they're at a KFC in Bavaro and they can't catch another cab because they're not at the airport where it's easy to catch a cab. So they called an Uber, as one does. First, I'm going to say never take an Uber in the Dominican Republic, but this was, it wasn't their first choice. And so the first Uber never picks them up, whatever. Second Uber finally picks them up. There's no issues. They're on their way. But once they're in the middle of nowhere, the Uber driver pulled over and began to ask for more money. He wanted more money on top of the Uber fare, and he wanted 90 USD. My kids contact me and I'm like, "I'm sorry, what? What's happening? Like, you're in the middle of nowhere?" I'm like, just agree. Give him whatever money he wants. And so they agree to it, and he finally resumes bringing them to the resort. Meanwhile, at the resort, to get 90 USD is thousands of Dominican pesos. So I have to find ATMs with enough money to pull this out.
Yeah.
The first ATM didn't have enough money. Thankfully, our resort had two ATMs. And so I was able to eventually, and I had like 60 USD on me. So I really only needed 30 more, and that was a couple of $1,000 in Dominican peso. So I'm waiting. I'm waiting. They still don't show up. Now he's lost. Well, that was part of the scam. He went to the wrong place and said he's lost. And then he blames my daughter. And so now he wants 50 more USD. Girl, I know there's no more money in that ATM. I can't get out more
Like,
money.
we've been here already.
Yeah. As soon as they got to the resort, I pulled them out of the Uber. They don't have any luggage because their luggage never showed up in the Dominican. This whole trip was a complete disaster. I pulled him out of the car, give him the money. He hasn't even come through the gate at the resort. And the resort knows I'm very upset.
As
And
one
so
does.
So I'm thinking they won't let him on the resort. He's been paid. We walk to the front desk. I'm trying to check in my kids. All of a sudden, he's standing right next to me and he has slapped that money down and he is demanding more money. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Now, my Spanish is not great, but I know some. So in between his Spanish and then the front desk guy pulls out a sheet and he's like, well, here's the taxi cab rates. You owe him $50 more because she gave him the wrong address. And that's when I realized they're all in on it. Everybody in the country knows about it. All the workers know about it. And they're like, just give him more money, lady. Just give him more money. And I couldn't believe that they let him on the resort. There he is standing next to me. I posted a photo of it because he's way bigger than me. And security standing right next to him because I've demanded security. I've demanded the police. I feel like my kids are being kidnapped. And by the way, this is after midnight. Remember, my kids landed at 7:30. It's now like 12:10 in the middle of the
And
night.
you need to clarify how old your kids are, because they're kids to us, but to most people, they're young adults.
Oh,
They're
yeah, I probably look like a lunatic when they showed up. So I'm like, "My children, he has my children." They're 18 and 21.
in most countries, I would feel safe, sending them in an Uber by themselves.
Well, my
Obviously
kids
not.
they've traveled the world. They've
Yeah,
traveled alone, even did study abroad. It's not like, yeah,
this
no,
is
this was
new.
a total nightmare. And just based on the way we were treated, it was super scary. The fact that you cannot get the police in the Dominican Republic, I think, is a huge issue. And so
Hmm.
for our family personally, we will never go back. That'll be the last time we ever set foot in their country because I think it's too dangerous. I think if you know, by thankfully this was a common Uber scam. I didn't know that. I figured it's 50-50. They were getting kidnapped at that point. My
Right.
daughter's only 5'3". She's very small. Like, yeah, I was scared out of my mind. So it was horrifying. So I would say never take an Uber in a third world country like that. That's something that we'll never do again. Definitely stick to like the main transportation. And then I knew that because I've been to Thailand and they're like, only take like legit transportation, only take a cab and make sure the cab is this color and not like this color. And definitely do a little research about the country you're going to and like the do's and don'ts about, yeah, taxi cabs,
Yeah.
Ubers, whatever. And this is the reason a lot of times a country will throw Uber out of their country, and the Dominicans should throw Uber out of their country, but
Yeah.
I guess they don't have a problem with it. So
And I think that's part of the thing people don't realize. Dominican Republic shares an island with Haiti, and Haiti is in complete civil unrest. And so obviously you're going to have some of that crime spilling over into the Dominican Republic. And it's funny because I have a scam story similar in the Dominican Republic that happened when I went there with my boys. We were on a ship and we were just there exploring for a couple days. We went into Puerto Plata, which has a funicular, and I don't think anything wrong with this. This is very touristy. People do it all the time. My driver took me straight from the port. We get there, and there are all these guides in front of the building. I guess it's like a national park or whatever. And he points to one gentleman and says he's going to be your guide for the day. And I think this is a totally normal thing. Great, awesome. I love that they provide this service. We go with this guy, and he's giving us a tour of the park, but it is remote. It is jungle. There is nobody else around. And at some point, I'm realizing this is not my best travel idea ever. And then there's little shops up there, and he takes us in. And Gavin at the time was probably about 14, and he recognizes like this is not a normal thing. Finn is like, yeah, let's go shopping. Like, look at these cool little trinkets and stuff. And so I'm just kind of like, let's do whatever you're going to do and get out. But you do feel that pressure to buy. And so we bought some little necklace or whatever, shark tooth thing. And then the guy walks us down the mountain. But the whole time I'm thinking, I'm by myself with two young boys. I don't know if there's other men out here. It was just a very bad idea. And it really was something that I still to this day am like, why did I think that was okay? So, I mean, those kind of things where you're in a country that you don't know very well, to your point, do the research ahead of time. Know if there's been a crime issue. Know if this is a common scam. The Uber thing is crazy to me, especially for you. I mean, you're not like new to travel. You've been to third world countries. I mean, I don't even like in a third world country, I don't even think I'd think to look for Uber, but we all have come to rely on it as a common way to get around. But even in Europe, there are other local options that are sometimes better than what Uber can offer you transportation wise. So just keep that in mind when you're traveling, that even though it feels comfortable, it doesn't mean it's the best choice to use for getting around.
Well, and I saw a study right after this trip that Uber has a huge assault problem. I think it said
Mm.
every 8 minutes someone's assaulted by an Uber driver. So
Holy
for us,
mackerel.
we're done with Uber. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, when you're in the jungle, and that was part of the problem is that had we just been in Punta Cana, that's not that far from the airport. We were
Sure.
an hour and a half from the airport. We were up in Michis. That's too far. That's too far to go.
Yeah.
I hate to crap on an entire island, but they treated me like crap, so
Yeah.
I'm going
That's
to.
fair.
And
Yeah.
so, I know that they are driving my tiny little daughter through dense jungle. I mean, honestly, he could have kidnapped her and there would have been nothing we could do.
Speaking of transportation, when you rent a car, I think that's another area that's been very prone to scams lately is people when you return the car saying, "Oh, it was damaged X, Y, and Z way." So we got really lucky. We've always just taken photos of the car before we leave the property. And we had rented a car in Germany, returned it, and it was a really weird pickup. It was before it was common like it is now. It was out in a parking garage at a train station. You picked it up and you left. There was nobody checking in, checking out. You checked in at a little desk and you're sent on your way. But after we returned from Germany, we got a nice bill for about $600 from the car rental company. And we're like, we didn't do anything. And they're, oh, there's dents on the car, blah, blah, blah. We had taken photos and they were all time stamped. So we could submit them and be like, yep, nope, that's not how it looked. And we took pictures when we returned it also. So just something to keep in mind if you do rent a car instead of taking like a Lyft service or whatever, that you should take photos before and after just so you have some backup should it arise that you need to.
Meanwhile, in Costa Rica, I wrecked the car twice and they didn't say a word.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
You
Well,
know
I
what?
don't think I'd put that out there in public.
It's hard. It's hard to drive in Costa Rica because Google Maps or Apple Maps will take you where it should not. Like,
Yeah.
you need a paper map if you're going to drive around in Costa Rica. Do not follow Google Maps because the
Yeah.
next thing you know, you're toast. So, well, I mean, that situation happened to my kids. I know that your son had something happen to him recently.
Yeah. So my kids, I don't know, maybe it's because they go to school in the South. They tend to have events in New Orleans. Date formals are always there for fraternities, but my son wanted to go there for his birthday this year. Mom's like, bad idea. Don't go. Mind you, he's 23. So he's going with friends. His friends live not too far away. And they're all meeting up there. And so he and a friend, and he didn't tell me this till he got back, probably rightfully so, because I would have lost my ever loving mind. He said, oh, well, the first night we met some girls. We're walking from bar A to bar B with them. I go into the bar with one girl. My friend is about 2 minutes behind me with another girl. And I get in the bar and I realize my friend's not there. So I go back out and I ask the bouncer, has he seen my friend? And the guy says, well, no, but you should probably go back and look for him because sometimes they'll duck off into an alley and they'll, rob them or whatever the case may be. And so my son starts walking back, and I'm getting the story wrong. There were actually two girls with his friend, one friend, and they get back there and he finds his friend, and the friend is in a panic because the friend's phone has been stolen. So what had happened is one girl says, I need to go pee. They duck into an alley. He's covering for her. The other girl says, can I borrow your phone? Mine's dead. I need to call somebody. Mind you, they've been hanging out with these girls for about an hour at this point, so you feel like you kind of know them. I don't know. While he's covering for the girl in the alley, the girl that's calling her friend takes off with his phone. So my son goes back to the bouncer and says, hey, have you seen this girl? She looks like this. And he's like, oh yeah, I saw her get into a car. Took off, with the kid phone. So then the whole next day of their vacation, they ended up spending it at the phone store, getting the kid a new phone and canceling everything. But just something that you think would be not a big deal, like letting somebody you've met borrow your phone, like it all went so sour so quickly that, it just is how that you should be aware of, especially things like that, where kids are young and they're impressionable, but New Orleans is just, sorry, New Orleans, I love a lot of things about you,
New
but
Orleans is dirty.
there are things that you need to worry about when you're there. And I always say to my kids, don't be out past 2:00 in New Orleans. Nothing good happens after 2:00. And my son said, you're absolutely right. This happened around 3 a.m. I'm like, told you, don't do those things. Like, just be smart about it and
I
just
think,
pay attention.
why can't she use the bathroom in the bar?
Exactly. Good.
What a strange choice. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And I tried to ask, I'm like, do you think they were together? They were in on it? And he's like, no. And I'm like, yeah, I think they were.
it's
So,
interesting the things that people will set up and you just don't realize what's happening.
yeah.
A lot of times when you book, like, you get a really good deal on like a cheap tour. You think, well, why is
Mm-hmm.
it so cheap? Well, it's because they're
Yeah.
going to take you to a whole bunch of like, oh, we're going to take you to an educational to learn about this gym.
Yeah.
Well, it's because they're gonna take you to once you learn about the gym, which will take, like, 5 minutes,
Yeah.
then, oh, you can shop, and everything in there is marked up by, like, 1,000%, or it's just like the most subtle things, but if you don't realize what's happening, you're like, "Oh, fun, yeah, let's
Yeah.
shop, like, how interesting," but
Well,
then
I
you
still
realize
laugh because you did a tour in Turkey, and I think that the guy took you from shop to shop to shop to shop. And you're like, that's not what I want a tour for. I want a tour to learn about the place. I'm not here to shop. And you said, if they take me to another shop, I can't remember exactly how it went, but I know that Megan was really upset about the
oh,
whole
I was super
experience.
mad, and that's really common in Asia, like, that's a really
Mm,
common thing. This is like "Oh, it's gonna be educational," which it can be, but some are more
yeah.
educational than others, but yeah, I was like we got to where I was like, "Walk out." I'm like, "Where's the exit?" And you gotta, like, weave your way through, like, so much stuff to get out. I'm like,
Oh,
"Good
yeah.
grief," and they're like, "You didn't wanna shop?" I'm like, "No, I don't wanna shop. I'm done." So and I told them that
Over.
I was like, "Tomorrow, not one shopping thing," and then they ended up taking us off of the group tour, and we had a private tour that day because I guess I was ruining it for them because I started telling the other people, I'm like, "This is a scam, like, we're getting scammed," and that was
They
a
don't
big
want you to do
no-no,
that.
but we had a
Yeah.
lovely day after
Yeah.
that, so
Yeah. That's fair. Again, you have to know what you're getting into. If that's the type of tour that you want, great. But if it's not, you have every right to say, this is not what I expected. I'm out of here.
well, and this was, like, hit and miss because we had to do like, we were doing a bunch of different cities, so every city had a
Mm.
different tour guide, so it really came down to the tour guide, and I think certain tour guides have certain kickbacks at certain
Oh, sure.
places, and
Yeah.
so there was one guy that was just I'm like, "What are you doing? This isn't
Yeah.
on the itinerary, like, stop it."
Yeah.
Like, Turkey's a lovely place, but man, they changed all of our reservations, like, I booked it with my credit card, and I have a different last name for my kids because 'cause I'm
Mm.
divorced, and
Yeah.
all of our reservations got changed to Noah's name because he's the oldest man in the group. I was like, "What is happening?" But that wasn't a scam, but it was
Yeah.
hurtful.
Yeah.
So,
How dare they? How dare-
I'm like, "What do you
I-
mean you don't have our reservation?" They're like, "Could
yeah.
it be under any other name?" I'm like, "No, what name would it be under?" And then I'm like,
Oh,
"Well"
they changed it.
yeah, so anyway.
One last thing before we wrap this up. I think the other common scam I've seen, because the lady on TikTok sent me down a rabbit hole. The whole thing about the cups, or like find the ball when they move the ball, or them trying to give you something. So this is very common in Paris, where it's like, can you guess where the ball is and you win a prize? And people get sucked into it because they'll be like, it's there. And they're like, you're right. And then you're right. And then the third time, there's actually no ball there. And so there's no way that you're ever going to win this scam of a game. The other one is when they come up and they try to give you something and they're trying to distract you, or they put like a ring on your finger or like a necklace on you. And then when you say no, you don't want it, they start making a scene. And the
Yeah.
scene is part of the distraction so that they can either take something out of your bag or whatever the case may be, or maybe it's somebody with you has something. So just be mindful of people approaching you with
Yeah.
things that you don't want. That and the games, the table games. Stay away.
I have not seen the table games.
Oh
That's
yeah.
can't wait to see that.
Yeah, Paris. Yeah. Yeah, missing out.
We don't really like France, so we won't
Yeah.
be back in
Well,
Paris.
might be a while.
Yeah. Okay. Well, on that note,
We hope you found some great things to pay attention to on your next adventures.
yeah, good luck, y'all. And if you've been scammed, leave a comment. Would love
Yeah,
to hear about it.
absolutely.